Hey mathematicians, let's do our homework. Okay, so the front page is pretty easy, and we've mostly already talked about number 3 because there was that typo. The biggest mistake I saw on the exit ticket, despite me warning you, is that people are confusing the rules for triangle sides and the rules for triangle angles. So is it a triangle when I give you sides? Absolutely, you should be adding the smallest two and putting a greater than symbol and comparing it to the largest one. But these are not sides. When you see the degrees, or when you read the directions and they say the word angles, you have a different rule to check if 3 angles make a triangle. And that is that they need to have a sum of 180 degrees. Nothing above that, nothing below that, only exactly that. So to check these, you need to add each option. 45 plus 55 plus 82. Does that make 180? If the answer is yes, you can make a triangle with that. If the answer is no, you did not make a triangle. 45 plus 55, here's my strategy. I don't even do all the math. I say 5 plus 5, that's going to give me a 0 in my ones place, which 180 has. That's what I want. That makes 10 plus 2, that makes 12. That puts a 2 in my ones place, which is not going to be what 180 looks like. So without even doing all of the addition, I can quickly calculate my ones place. If it doesn't end up in a 0, then I'm not interested. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 9 is 21. That's not going to have a 0 in my ones place. Now, is this the only strategy? Absolutely not. You can fully add them. 96 plus 26 plus 59. 6 and 6 is 12, plus 9 is 21. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And there's your proof. It is not 180, so you've got to keep checking. There is no way that I will accept you turning this in with only an answer circled. Whether it's small annotations or full addition, you need something on the page. Otherwise, I am going to assume that you either guessed or did it on a calculator, which you're not supposed to be doing. So you have to put some work on the page. Remember, when you're adding decimals, this 7 does not get added to this 5. That is 7 in the tenths place. And that is 5 in the hundreds place. So when you are adding or subtracting decimals, you must stack your decimals on top of each other, because this makes sure that you're adding tenths with tenths, tens with tens, ones with ones, and every place value is getting correctly added to its matching place value. Down here we have word problems. We already fixed this is a typo. Well, this is the fixed typo. It should say CAB because that means we're looking for angle A. We fixed this in class, so this shouldn't be a huge issue. But you're looking for angle A, not what the typo originally said, CBA, because we already know that angle B is 97 degrees. Number 4, we have triangle QRS. I really don't know what kind of triangle it is, so I'm going to draw an obtuse, but maybe it's going to end up being acute, maybe it's going to end up being equilateral, which is equiangular. I don't really know. If you write yourself a little note that it's not to scale, that means that your drawing is not going to be accurate to the numbers you put on it, which is great because then you can draw whatever kind of triangle you want, and you're just using it as a visual cue instead of trying to accurately represent the angle measurement. Triangle QRS. The measure of angle RSQ, so this angle right here, is 89.1 degrees, so you can definitely see mine is not drawn to scale. That should be much closer to a right angle. But whatever, I put the little note there. I'm just using it to help me figure out what I'm doing. The measure of angle QRS, that's this one right here. That's 15. Okay, so you can definitely see my drawing is not accurate, but again, I'm not super stressed about it. I am now looking for this SQR. I want to know what this is. And again, every time we do one of these, we have 2 angles we know. 1 angle we don't, but we do know it will always add up to 180 degrees, or in this case, we can write 180.0 because I do see that we have things in the tenths place. add first, combine your like terms, and then isolate your variable by subtracting to get x alone. On the back, we have grocery shopping. I did my grocery shopping last night. We're going grocery shopping at H-E-B, and we are using reusable bags to be nice to the environment. These, however, are tiny reusable bags. They can only hold 3 items. An item is a thing. Carton of eggs, box of cookies, bag of salad, one thing. That's one item. So each bag can hold 3 items. One bag holds 3 items. How many bags would you need to carry a carton of eggs, 6 bags of chips, 1 pack of Oreos, I got Oreos in my groceries last night, 3 Lunchables, and 4 frozen pizzas? Oh, they even did the math for us. That's so nice. And by they, I mean me. I did it. You're welcome. That's 15 items. So one bag can hold 3 of those things. 2 bags holds 3 and 3. That's okay. Yep, that's 6. You need to figure out how many bags it takes to hold 15 items. That's a question. Don't skip it. Complete the table. We've got number of bags. And what was that 15 that we just talked about? 15, oh yeah, items. Items are independent because you usually go to the grocery store and say, I want this food, this food, this food, put it in your cart. You do not usually go to the grocery store and hold up your bag and be like, well, I only have space for 3 things. Sometimes you go to the grocery store and say, I only have money for this much, but you don't usually go grocery shopping based on what fits in your grocery bag. So 15 items is 5 bags. Looking at this relationship, we can make an additive rule and we can make a multiplicative rule. Well, let's think about the number 0. If you bought 0 things, how many bags do you need? 0 items means 0 bags. So I think now you can decide what your rule is. Is it additive or multiplicative? You have to graph. This is where we spent most of our time in class when we were reviewing and looking at all the mistakes that people were making on these graphs. You know I'm going to be really strict about it tomorrow, so make sure yours looks good. The directions say number your axes. So we need to talk about how many groceries we're getting. You do not need to use the numbers from the table. In fact, some of those get really big, and maybe we don't want to do that. We know this is 0, and this is 0. This is 0 what? So choose which word you're going to write. And then choose an interval. You cannot just pick some random numbers to write down. We got to be skip counting by the same number. Since this is items, our independent variable, maybe you want to count by 3s. Because then you can say that matches with 1 bag. So you need to skip count by the numbers that are on the table. I'm not going to do too much of this because I'm holding you accountable. We talked about this in class. You need to be able to graph these. Again, if you want them to match your table, that's fine, but you don't have to use such big numbers. Independent variable, I already told you that if you were listening. Dependent variable is the one I didn't say when I told you about independent variable. Independent and dependent values, you can copy them from the table when you finished it, or you can copy them from the 4 or more, maybe you do more than 4 points in your graph, points that you've graphed from like the 4 x values or y values of the ordered pairs that you graph. Well, we already know this answer. And I'm pretty sure you can write an equation based on some scratch work that I did up here. So now we're done with your homework.